Are you guys excited for the season to start just like we are? I'm excited because Ty's here. Let's talk about it. Armchair GM podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. Let's get rolling. Hey, Dylan, why don't you start us off? Tell us what we're talking about today.
Well, training camp's around the corner. We've got rookie camp going on, I think, starting tomorrow. And I figure we talk a little bit about training camp, let rookie camp go on a little bit before we actually speculate on that too much. But let's welcome in Ty. He was one of our old co-hosts for a little while there before his life got a little busy, but we'd like to welcome him back in as a
I'm back, baby.
Yeah, welcome back.
The shit is packed. We're here. We're ready to roll.
It's an amazing world that we live in when 5 months is old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, life just kind of sneaks up on you like that, and all of a sudden you got no time for anything else. But thank God I'm back. I had some time tonight, so what are we talking about?
What work can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Sucks. But
we're
looking forward to having you on every once in a while throughout the season whenever you get a chance. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm loving the background there, Ty.
Oh yeah. Here we go. We got the new boys, we got the old boys, a little bit of everything. We got some Markstrom back here.
Nice.
Yeah. Full lineup.
Love it.
Basically.
Hoping that's what one of the lineups is going to look like this year, but you know, Hubido is probably going to be on the first. They're going to put these other guys on the second.
I mean, it's likely.
Yeah,
it is.
It's likely. And unfortunately for 91 and 88, they probably won't be on the first, but that's okay.
Exactly.
But that's okay because I mean, you need more than one line to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well, speaking of Hubido and Kadri, that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing in camp is just how well those two guys gel together and seeing kind of how they gel not only together but with the rest of the team, because you know chemistry is a big thing, and I expect some good things. I'm not going to go out there and say that these guys are going to light it up like they did last year because they both had career years last year, but I'm pretty excited to see just how they do.
Well, and the thing is too, like, we as Flames fans should be stoked. Like, we've got these two superstars that have chosen to come to us over anywhere else for less money. Like they want to be here. That's huge.
Yeah.
We had some guys walking out the door there that superstars, sure, but you know, they didn't want to be here. You could tell, like, especially near the end there. These guys, they want to be here.
That's
Absolutely.
the big thing. I agree with you there, Ty. The feeling around Calgary was a lot of doom and gloom there. You know, a couple of days into free agency or just before free agency.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then when you trade for a player, and obviously, you know, the first couple of days he was in shock, right? Huberdeau, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure that he was even going to come to Calgary at all, to be honest, just given the look on his face. Cause I mean, he was in the middle of trying to negotiate an extension in Florida. And gets a call on a Friday night where he believes it's going to be contract related, but lo and behold, they shipped him out. The place that he had been at forever, and you know, obviously the franchise that he loved to play in. I'm sure it was easy for him there because he could walk around anywhere, never recognized, you know, all that fun stuff, right? Doesn't have to worry about a packed stadium yelling at him.
Meanwhile, he steps off the plane here and immediately he's recognized by Calgarians.
That's
yelling at him like, Huberdeau, let's go.
Yeah, and seeing like the smile on his face, the interview he did at the Flames golf tournament that was yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, he seems like he's probably always wanted to play in a market like this, probably even a more crazy market, but you know, it seems like he's happy to be here at least for now. So that's great to see. And honestly, like Kadri's used to it. Like, sure, he's spent a couple seasons in Colorado, but I mean, he played in Toronto for most of his career, so
Yeah, he had the spotlight squarely on him, and you know,
Yeah.
he was much younger back then, so he's definitely matured and he's learned how to deal with that better.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can tell in his interviews that he's matured a fair bit since Toronto.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's definitely a lot more calm and cautious with his words, if you will. But of course, he's at this stage because everybody's just happy about him coming here. So there hasn't been any sort of negative energy or anything like that. Not saying there will be, but it's it's early days, and I'm hopeful and excited that things are going to be good for Kadri, because when things are going good for him, he's a hell of a player.
He really is.
Yeah.
And then we also got that other part, Uyghur too. Like I'm excited to see him.
Well,
Me too.
in that whole trade with Hubido and Uyghur, Uyghur was the one I was super excited to bring in.
Totally.
Because I honestly didn't think we would extend Hubido. I thought we'd have him for a year or just until the trade deadline. So I was really thinking that Uyghur was the key piece, but now that things have kind of unfolded the way they have, obviously Huberdeau becomes the key piece, but Uyghur's an excellent addition to our top four in the defensive side of things. Like I'm really excited to see if they put him with Tanev and see what kind of season they can possibly have, or even Tanev with Hanovan again.
Well, and that's the thing with Uyghur too. Like he plays both sides. Like he does lefty and righty comfortably, so he can slot in wherever. And then that opens up our fourth line to Shillington and whoever he goes with, including our latest PTO Stone.
Yeah,
he's back, baby. Let's go.
As if they're not going to sign him. I mean, how do you not?
Exactly.
What he did last year in the playoffs in Tanev's absence is just short of brilliant. Like it really was great.
Yeah, and what he's done like every year for this team in general, just like coming in with those minimum contracts.
100%.
Absolutely, he's the prototypical seventh defenseman, and that's exactly what we need out of him. I mean, we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, I guess, seventh defenseman right now, if you count Stone. But I don't know. I can't see Valimaki being a Flame for too much longer. That's one of the points I have here about camp, is just seeing how all of these one-way defensemen that we have on contract kind of level out.
Yeah, I think, I mean, in my opinion, Stone is the one that stands out as being the 7, and I personally think it's a two-way race for the number 8 spot at the D line.
Yep.
Based on the guys that we have there.
I mean, that fourth line is probably going to be Shillington and Zadorov, like without question.
The third pair? Yeah.
Sorry, third. Yep.
Yeah.
I could see it being Shillington and Zadorov. That kind of scares me, just because Zadorov really stepped up last year and proved me wrong as far as the defensive liability part is concerned. And then he had a career year, so hopefully he can continue that. And
the one thing to note on that, though, Zadorov had a career year playing with a stay-at-home defenseman, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So that I agree with you, Dylan. That's one thing that kind of freaks me out a little bit, because obviously Shillington is not that at all. So I mean, I hope that Daryl can kind of get through to Oliver on just playing defense first, right? The offense will come when the opportunity is there. It doesn't have to be every shift.
Well, that's one of my big things too, is Shillington spent all year not learning from Tanev last year, but he spent all year relying on Tanev.
Yeah.
And I'm really kind of interested to see how that works, with Zadorov, and maybe we end up seeing like a Uyghur Zadorov pairing, and then we see Shillington and Shillington and Tanev get back together, and Zadorov and Uyghur, and then there's so many options, and I think Daryl's going to try a lot of them, and think it would be really beneficial if we had 3 pairings that were all, somewhat evenly played instead of having one who's so heavily relied on that they're exhausted by the third period.
Mhm. Something I also kind of noticed too last season was like we didn't really speak negatively or even notice anything negative about Shillington until he took that like scary dive into the boards and took that head injury. And then he came back and he was a different player. Like he was making more mistakes. He wasn't playing defensively. He was looking like Bambi on ice, like timid, falling down. Maybe
nice callback.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe like this season he comes back in, he's refreshed, he's renewed, he doesn't have that head injury, he's clear-minded. Maybe we'll see that he actually did pick up something last season from Tanev.
I hope so. And I think also at that point, that was also around the time Tanev probably originally started hurting. Like right around the time Shillington came back from that injury, probably a little too soon, and then got rocked again. So yeah, I can see what you're talking about there. I think we shit on Shillington a lot, but I think he's got so much potential, and if he learns a little bit of defense, I think that he could become like a really solid top 4 defenseman.
And you think too, like our top 2 lines, they're obviously going to be in whatever form. It's going to be Tanev, Uyghur, Hanifin, Anderson. They're going to eat the majority of the minutes too. So whatever role or whatever ice time Zadorov and Shillington have, it's going to be very limited. So I think we have less to worry about than we actually think.
Yeah, when you have the top 2 pairs that can roll 22 to 24 minutes a night regularly, that takes a lot of the pressure off that bottom pairing. So if there's a situation where the defense isn't looking great, Daryl can scale it back and just give them the 15, 16 minutes kind of thing, maybe 17, and then potentially it won't hurt us as much, right?
So let's talk about Tanev for a minute, because he's kind of we think he's going to be back for the start of training camp, but who knows if he's going to continue or if he's going to play throughout training camp. He might just play the last game just to get his legs under him. But apparently he, has been spending most of the off season healing. So I think that might be part of the reason why we have so many extra defensemen, or even just the 1 or 2 extra defensemen we're going to have on the roster to start. And that's to kind of limit Tanev until he's like fully back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, right? Obviously when we had all those defensemen as fans, our first thought is, oh, there's a big trade coming, right? And speculation was going all over the place. There still might be. There's still a couple of weeks before things get rolling, before the season starts. So you never know what Brad has up his sleeve, right? But I mean, I think as long as the guys are keeping the shit tight in the back end, I think it'll be all right.
You got to keep that shit tight.
Yeah.
You got to pack it. You got to keep
it. You got to pack it.
As long as they keep the shit packed at the back end. Yeah. No, I think I think you're right, Dylan, that just more of a caution thing as far as Tanev goes. I mean, they're saying that he's going to be ready for beginning of training camp, which is great news. But I mean, no sense in going hard minutes for a while, right?
Well, and on that sense too, like we also need guys that are going to be playing in the A.
Yeah.
Like we don't necessarily have a whole lot of defense prospects. We've got Kuznetsov, we've got Poirier, Mackey and Valimaki. That's 4. Off the top of my head, I can't think of who the other 2 would be that would play solid minutes down the A. So
D. Simone, Gilbert, and Milosh.
Yeah, not great options.
Right.
I mean, Milosh he's proven NHLer. He could also vie for that 7th spot. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But there's probably going to be at least 2-3 guys that get sent down, and they're going to be playing the top minutes down the A while the other guys are developing and turning into prospects.
Yeah, well, that's just it. And Stone has proven that he can sit in the press box for a month or 2 at a time and come in and be valuable.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, like
instantly.
get the nod and being playing in 3 hours and actually be useful on the ice, right?
Yeah.
So
You
it's
mentioned Kuznetsov and Poirier too.
Hmm.
That's something I'm kind of looking forward to seeing in camp and in rookie camp, actually.
Yeah.
The knock on Poirier has always been he's too worried about the offensive side and he doesn't quite get into the defensive end enough. But from what I've heard, last year he really stepped up and started getting a lot better defensively. I'm not watching St. Dog Sea Dogs games, so I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just what I've heard. And he's been paired with Kuznetsov for a lot of last season. I do know that. So that's quite interesting that they're pairing the defensive defenseman and the offensive defenseman from the Flames together in the queue.
So I actually see Kuznetsov turning into more of a NHLer than Poirier. I only just this season started paying more attention to him and his game, and like, man, the guy's 6'6", he's solid, he's a big boy, and he plays defense well. Like he's basically a young good Branson in my mind. Come in and play third line minutes and just be that shutdown guy and just bully people out on the ice.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite Flames, Robin Regier. I'm an ex-defenseman when it came to my minor league play. So I have a huge love and respect for stay-at-home defensemen that can get the job done and just kick the shit out of anybody that comes in your zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, me too. And I remember seeing Kuznetsov. I can't even remember. Was it last year's training camp? I think it was last year's training camp he was a part of. And I was really impressed. Like he was really raw at that point. And obviously he's used the last year to really, step it up and hone some of his skills and all that type of stuff. But I mean, both of those guys are going to be in the AHL as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see if they keep that pairing together, and it's going to be great having the AHL in Calgary because,
I can't wait to go to games.
Yeah. I'm going to get a jersey 100%.
Well, a Wranglers jersey?
Oh, yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
think that logo is sick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on.
It looks incredible.
Yeah. I think the safest one to get would probably be Dustin Wolf.
Fair enough, but Matthew Phillips has got a real soft spot in my heart, so that's probably what I'm getting. I live here in Victoria, where he used to be the captain of the Royals, so it's going to be hanging on my wall here with pride.
Nice. I like that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even though this is probably his last year in Calgary, because let's face it, he's probably not going to make the cut this year. I mean, who knows? He might have a crazy training camp coming up or the rookie camp. And
how old is he? Is he 28?
I think.
I think he's
25.
25, something like that. Yeah. But he's still he's got the skill. I just don't think that he's got a spot on the Flames, unfortunately. Yeah. But again, that's what training camp's for, right? You never know if guys like that and like Peltier, even if those guys can step it up enough, then that makes possibly other guys expendable, right? And that's a good sign.
That's the beautiful thing about professional sports, right? Players can get traded. There's always a spot, or always the possibility of a spot.
Yeah.
So I mean, if a guy can push in training camp and get noticed, because that's one thing that I talk about all the time. I'm a big listener of the Fan 960 in the mornings, especially, and when Rhett Warner would be on there and he'd talk about training camp and how disgusted he was watching the young guys in there, because he's just like, they're doing absolutely nothing to get noticed.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not making that extra hit. They're just not taking it to the next level. And
it's almost like it's an all-star game.
Yeah. They're just trying to
skill it up
and look at me, this is what I can do for Flash. But I mean, we all know Daryl, he's not about flash. And so if that's what you're going to bring to the table, you're going to spend at least another year in the A.
Yep, that's true.
Mm.
I could see Peltz getting a roster spot this year, though.
You know what? I could see it as well. It wouldn't surprise me.
No,
You know,
a lot
if
of
he
our-
comes in and pushes.
Yeah, a lot of our current wingers, they play left and right side, so it would be so hard to just switch one of those guys over and put Peltz on like the left wing on the third or fourth line.
I could definitely I don't see a way that, you know, throughout the season, even if it's halfway through the year, somebody gets hurt. Like, he's the first guy up.
Yeah.
You have to think he's the first guy up. He's gonna get probably at least his 9-game trial, if not more, you know. And maybe he might beat somebody out of a spot full time. Like, who knows? It would be great to see, because I mean, we don't have all that many guys who usually come up that way. Like, on the roster right now, I think all we have is Dubé and Manch that did that up front.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice having those league
backline.
minimum third liners instead of, you know, $5-6 million third liners.
One thing that comes to mind too is like Lucic. He's 34 this year, turning 35. Like, he's been declining. He's obviously not the same player he was, and while he was still very effective last year, who knows? This could be the season where he rides the bench a little more than previous seasons.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, you never know, right? I mean, we've all been speculating about a big trade that's supposed to happen to bring somebody in as a top line right winger.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, maybe that involves one or two wingers and a defenseman, and we pulled in that guy, and then we bring up a Poirier or, you know, or somebody, right?
And to be honest, I could see someone like Dubé being that guy that's used as that bait to bring someone else in.
Yeah,
like a Dubé and a Shillington or something like that, and, you know,
Dubé and Poirier or something like that.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it.
Right.
Dylan, are you a betting man?
I am when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, Ty?
Yeah, I do fantasy hockey. I don't necessarily bet on games very often, though.
I think after this ad, you will.
Yeah, fair enough.
The NFL's opening week was action-packed and is just getting started. Get ready for week 2 of touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. You want more action? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. This Sunday, bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 points, at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code THPN. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age, restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Well, guys, I was just watching a interview with Connor Zary, and I'll be honest, he looks like he's been working out all summer. He looks like he's put on, you know, the good kind of weight, and he looks like he's a whole different guy, actually. Like, he looks like puberty just fucking finished. So I'm interested to see how that plays out over the next, season or two. I don't think he's, quite ready to play NHL minutes, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. It's good. It's good that he's taking the steps for, for health and trying to, bulk up and get ready for, at least trying for a roster spot. I mean, he's not going to, I agree. He's not going to make the team this year, maybe next, but I think it's, he's making some good progress and showing that he has what it takes. So let's bring it on.
Yeah,
be
you
honest,
really.
like-
Go ahead.
Like I'm one of those guys. Like there was so much hype behind Zari, and I was just like, I was a little bit let down that he ended up being our pick during the draft because I had my eyes set on Brendan Schneider when we had that pick, and then we traded down for him.
Yeah.
Schneider was the guy I wanted because I knew we were light on defense prospects, and like look at him now, he's turning into like a full-fledged NHLer on
Yeah.
New York Rangers who are deep on defense.
Yeah,
for
And
sure.
we're sitting here with Zari, who like, sure, he's taken another step, and you say he looks good now, but like, I'm still a little hesitant in the back of my mind. Like, did we pick the right guy in that draft?
I can see where you're coming from there. I think it's kind of tough to say that at this point, though, just because he came into camp last year and he broke his ankle blocking a shot. I think it was in his second shift. Like
Right.
that set him back a lot. And then when he did come back, I've heard Mitch Love, who's the Wranglers coach, talk a lot about him and how he really came back slow to for the first little while that he was back, and then he finally started showing those signs of growth, and then he was a key contributor throughout their playoff run, and he's really starting to progress properly. I think I'm not gonna hype him up too much because it's hard seeing anything more than an AHL career for him. Well, maybe not career, but next couple of years anyways, just with how our contracts are at the NHL level.
Yeah, I would say he's probably 2-3 years away from making the roster.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. I think top line minutes like in the AHL for a year or two is probably going to be very, very important for his development. And
yeah, agreed. I mean, in the 62 games that he's played for Stockton, now the Wranglers, 32 points. I mean, it's okay.
It's nothing to go crazy about. That's for sure.
No, and the key contributor in the playoffs that you spoke of there in the 13 games is he had 2 points, a goal and an assist.
Yeah, apparently Mitch Love was talking very highly about his defensive game, which is good.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way we deal with teenagers now, right? If if you don't have anything really good to say about production and what they're doing, you try and give them something, right? He played a good defensive role, but as a center, I mean, I obviously want him to be able to play 200 feet, but
I mean he was playing third line center. Yeah. He was stuck behind other guys at that point, but I know what you're getting at.
One of those other guys was Rosishka, who like I'm excited to see play full time this year.
Yeah,
if he does.
Okay.
I think he will.
I mean,
Backlund seems to think he's about to sign.
Yeah, I was going to say
reading that.
he needs to have a contract first before we do anything.
He was at that Flames golf tournament, and like all the reports are saying like he's here. Expect him to have a contract signed before training camp starts here.
Yeah. But we're hoping so. But like, where's he going to play?
Well, that's the thing. See, like I've talked on the internet, Facebook, obviously the most toxic place in the world, and I've put my comments out there. Like we have a plethora of center options currently on the team.
Yeah.
And one thing that has always rolled around in my mind is potentially putting Lindholm back to right wing where he played previously, and moving Kadri or Backlund up to that top line center spot, and then that kind of shuffles all of our centers up and opens up a center spot for someone like Rosishka or Phillips or let's say Zari. Like it opens up a spot for one of our prospects that need ice time at that level.
I see what you're getting at there, and well, I agree. Kind of. I've said that before about Lindholm, as far as a lot of people forget that he had his second best season ever playing on the right wing with Monahan and Gaudreau.
Yeah.
So he is just as effective at wing, I think, as he is at center, but it'd be really tough to move him over there. But I do like having two guys who can take faceoffs on the same line. Especially
I think about
line.
the top line of like Kadri in the middle, he's going to play his like rough, tough two-way like defender game.
Yeah.
Lindholm also plays two-way, but he's that prolific scorer. And then we got Huberdeau, who's just like the best passer in the league. Like that top line is going to shut down any line that it comes across this season.
I do like that. I'm not so sure about like I like having Backlund at third line center. I mean, he's a great second line center, but just that depth we have is really good, and it's kind of too bad for Rosishka. There were times last year I thought Rosishka would be better suited towards maybe trying him on the second line, because he was showing some pretty good offensive flair for a little while he was actually playing, and then he just sat for the rest of the season.
So there was another podcast out there. I won't name the other podcast, but it's one of those more popular ones. And he pulled up the stats, and the most effective second line we had all season, they had like elite numbers, was Backlund in the middle, Coleman on the left, and Mangiapane on the right. That was our most effective second line all season long. Like they had extremely good numbers.
Yeah.
And whenever that deviated, whenever they moved one of them up or down, it wasn't as good. I won't say it was shit, but their shit wasn't packed as much as it was before.
Are those stats from like beginning of the season till like the 10th of December?
It was beginning of the season till just before playoffs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they those guys had great advanced stats. They really did. Like, I'm not a huge believer in advanced stats, but those guys had some really good advanced stats. The thing is they didn't besides Mangiapane in the first month of the season or 2 months of the season, none of them had good finishing stats. And that's kind of important. Like, I really like having Backlund and Coleman together on the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm really interested to see if Mangiapane can be even close to what he was, or even a fraction of what he was in the first two seasons. But first 2 months, but then kind of stretch it out for the whole season instead of just like scoring in a bunch and then not scoring for the rest of the year.
Bold prediction. I say Mangiapane pushes all season long and he takes the top line right wing spot and he turns into a superstar this season.
Ooh.
Where were you last episode, Ty?
Probably at work.
We did bold predictions last week. Jeez.
Yeah, Christ.
And that would have taken the cake.
Yeah, no, that's my bold predictions. Mangiapane turns into our top line right wing.
So it's interesting that what you're saying there as far as our most productive second line, because Dylan and I talked about it, and we looked at numbers on timing and where he was, and Mangiapane got most of his points / goals when he was on the third line.
Right.
Yeah, he did. But I think he was also playing with Coleman when he was on the third line. I don't think Coleman was on the second line at that point.
Coleman,
but I could be wrong.
Coleman was with Backlund almost all year.
Yeah, he started and played most of the season on the second line.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would love nothing more than to see Coleman not get shit on by the fan base for being not the producer that people want him to be, and same with Backlund, because both of those guys have so much more value to the team and to team success than just scoring goals.
Right. But does the fan base realize that he played most of his minutes in Tampa on the third line?
Like the best third line in the history of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not, there's zero slight there against Coleman.
No,
I
know there's not. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I don't think I heard anything negative about Coleman all season.
Oh, I heard lots of people shit on him for not scoring.
I see a lot of people voice their opinion about his lack of
I think
scoring
it's
and
more the
production, but
$4.9 million than it is like, and I kind of agree. He might be overpaid a little bit, but like, I'd be fine with him. Like, I'd be happy with him at,
Well, the thing
4
is,
point.
that's a contract you can move
4.3.
too, right?
What's that?
It's a contract you can move too. Like I'm not sure if he has a no trade clause, but that's
I think
it's-
he does.
It's,
oh yeah.
it's- Brad was handing those out over the last 2 years like candy. He's like, I can't pay you money, but I can tell you I won't trade you.
True.
Unless you ask for a trade.
Right.
Yeah, so he's got a no trade clause this year and next year, and then the last 3 seasons it's modified.
Right. Yeah.
What's the modified on it?
I'm trying to figure that out.
10
Modification.
10
10 team
10
trade list.
Yeah, 10.
Oh, that's fucking tons.
Yeah.
That's tons.
That's a third of the league. Damn.
I mean,
No.
we just moved Monahan. Like we could move him Coleman if we needed to.
Yeah, I don't think we'd have to pay somebody to take Coleman though.
No,
I mean,
especially at 4.9. That's not bad at all.
that's
No.
true. That's true. But I
I'd
mean,
like to.
you might have to pay somebody when he's 33.
True.
But it's still, I mean, 4.9, especially with the cap projected to go up. That's not bad.
Yeah,
It's nothing
exactly.
wrong with that.
And the cap is projected to go up in 2 years. Like Saravalli, I think was saying it, that the projection is in 2 years it's going to jump by 9,
Oh wow.
which is fucking tons. But that's, like he said, nothing's set in stone. Obviously, it's just what they're saying is going to happen in 2 years, which is also, I'm just saying, when Lindholm's deal and Hannafin too, I think both of their deals end. So
I could see us moving Hannafin before his contract comes to an end, like in the final season, if we're not in a good, like solid playoff spot, or if someone desperately wants him.
Mhm.
I bet you Lindholm's going to get it around 9 mil though on a contract extension.
I would
I'd
be
think.
happy with Lindholm at 9.
Yeah.
I'd be fucking pumped.
Yeah, you can't have a player that's been on the top line since he came here and not pay him 9 at least.
Yeah, exactly. What do we
Yeah.
pay him now? Like 4?
Yeah, like
Anybody who's second in Selke voting should get,
I remember I saw stuff all the time. It was just like when Gaudreau was potentially re-signing, or at least everyone thought, and everyone was just like, all the rumors are coming out like 10 million stuff like that. And people were just like, well, no, he should be getting like Elias money, like Lindholm money. It's just like, listen, like Lindholm isn't even getting Lindholm money. Like,
Yeah,
he is
exactly.
Severely underpaid.
Lindholm's getting 4.85.
Yeah.
and like I liken that deal is kind of like the deal that McKinnon has been on for so long.
Oh, totally.
And I don't mean in the fact that Lindholm is McKinnon, because he's not, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like that's how underpaid Lindholm is.
Yeah. And
that's how underpaid McKinnon is.
And that's the thing. Like McKinnon only took that deal, and his whole purpose was to stay in Colorado and win the cup.
Yeah.
He did that. Now he's going to get a monster contract, and like the fans in Colorado are pissed. They're just like, you went back on your word, blah blah blah, and like it's like, no, he didn't. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He took less money. He won his cup. Now he gets paid.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He
And
fulfilled
rightfully
the
so.
promise.
Rightfully so. He's been a superstar since he came in the league.
Totally.
Like,
And
you
he's
have to
turned
pay
it-
the man.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Especially
honestly,
lately.
man, like I've been heering the number between 11 and 12 for him, which
he deserves
is
that. It's gonna be
huge.
8 years.
But that's the thing with the projected cap going up and all that type of stuff. Like by the time the third year of that contract comes up, he's going to be like the 10th highest paid in the league.
Yeah, and it's
You know
going to
what I
be
mean?
Panarin
Like,
again somehow.
What's that?
It's going to be Panarin at number 1 again somehow.
Fuck you, imagine.
Yeah, what's he making? Like 11 and a half this year?
It's like
fuck.
11 and a half, 12 or something like that. Yeah.
I think he was playing on the second line last year too for quite a while. I mean, he's a great player. I love Panarin. I'd love having Panarin, but maybe not at 11 and a half.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, you can't justify keeping Panarin on the top line when you have a guy like Kreider who's, got 50 plus goals.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like he becomes your top left wing.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have anything else you're looking forward to in camp, or?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to watch some damn games.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know,
I've missed
the
hockey.
the international play and the you know the women's play there. I mean, it was fun. It was like an appetizer, right?
Totally.
Now I want a meal. Like let's go get some. I'm really pumped for this season. I can't
Me as
wait
well.
for the season to get rolling and see how these this new look Flames figures it out, right?
Yeah, it might take a couple weeks, might take a month or whatever, but I think once they figure it out, they'll be flying pretty high. And
I don't know. I think they might be firing on all cylinders like right away. Pick up where we left off last year. It'd be like, the J and T that left, it's like they were never here.
that would certainly be
the
nice.
nobody's.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that would certainly be nice, but I can't, like, those guys had those, that chemistry because they played half the year together. Like the Lindholm Gaudreau Tkachuk line played together for half the year under Daryl and started flying at the end of the year previous. And then last year they had pre-existing chemistry, whereas not like any of the three guys who are going to play on the first line will not have played together pretty much. Almost any version of what you can, there's going to need to be chemistry built before they start like flying. And I do think they'll start flying, but it just might take a month or so.
Another bold prediction for me. I'm going to say we don't lose until game 5 or 6 of the season.
Do you know we play Colorado and Edmonton in the first 2 games?
Yep.
Okay. Not that I think Edmonton's great, but yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, heard it here first, folks. Heard it here first.
You should have been on last episode. You really should have. You just shooting out those predictions left and right.
I honestly think with the vision that Hubido has on the ice and Lindholm's ability to be open and his release on a shot when people are just turning their heads and finding out he has the puck, I think it's going to be at worst a week before they're firing.
Yeah,
at worst.
Fair enough.
And you got to think too, who's going to start on that top line on the right wing? It's probably going to be Tyler Toffoli, who is also a proven goal scorer as long as he has a excellent playmaker with him.
He had a rough season when he came here. I mean, he obviously started out great, but then kind of teetered off a bit. But he was also coming off a cup run of his own, so I would imagine he wasn't exactly in peak physical form.
Well, and you know what I think happened? Like you said, he started real hot those first 2 games.
Yeah.
Who did he play with those first 2 games? He got both those goals from Johnny, wasn't it? Like an excellent playmaker. And then all of a sudden we shipped him off to the second line, the third line, try to find a spot with players that aren't necessarily that type of playmaker. And he suffered.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. Like that's actually one thing I meant to write down about what I'm looking forward to seeing in camp is Tyler Toffoli hopefully having a little bit more foot speed. Like he's never had that much foot speed, but hopefully having just a little bit more, and hopefully gathering some chemistry with whether it's Hubido or Kadri or whoever. And he's kind of like wing Monahan. You know what I mean? Like back when Monahan was good. He's a guy who likes to get in front and shoot the puck, gather a rebound, shoot the puck.
Yeah, he is good at that. He's also pretty good at driving the net with the puck too, though.
That's true. So hopefully that, hopefully that comes to fruition, because I'd love to see that, two-way in Lindholm and the sniper and the playmaker.
Exactly.
That would just be a really, really good line, I think. And then that would also free up Kadri to be the second line center. And honestly, I think like a Kadri, Coleman, Mangiapane line, I think that like the forecheck on that line would be
Yeah,
nuts.
It'd be feisty.
Yeah.
Kadri, Lucic, Mangiapane. Let's go.
Boom. Bold prediction.
What's the next bold prediction, Ty? Lucic with 32 goals.
Oh man, wouldn't that be glorious? Holy, I would have so much content on my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big man. Sand people.
I can get behind that.
That would be incredible, but unfortunately my prediction for Lucic is he sits on the bench a little more this season.
Boo.
Yeah,
Boo.
I know.
I don't think we don't have any other really I guess Kadri, but we don't have too many tough guys anymore, especially with Goodbranson. I don't see, unless he gets traded, I don't see Lucic not playing at least the majority of the season. I could see him sitting a few games, but
we don't really need a tough guy anymore. Like last season, Goodbranson and Lucic, sure, they dropped mitts a couple times, but they weren't effective as the tough guys anymore. Goodbranson a few times, yeah, but even near the end, they weren't fighting at all anymore, no matter what happened on the ice.
Well, that's because the other team was scared.
Yeah, that's because they were on the ice. Yeah,
well, and that's what I'm saying. They're on the ice, and so they're not effective anymore. They're just there as skaters, and their skating ability is not good anymore. And if no one wants to fight them, then they don't really have that high of a value anymore.
Other than the fact when you got guys like Johnny Gaudreau coming out 3/4 of the way through the season and actually mentioning the fact that he feels that he has a lot more ice because Luch is around.
Not fair.
It's kind of funny that Johnny followed Goodbranson to Columbus.
That is interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, they overpaid on Goodbranson like crazy.
What are you talking about?
$4 million by 4 years.
I mean, I wouldn't pay him that, but
absolutely not.
But I mean, I honestly think he's worth it. With the
can I ask you guys what you would pay him? I'd probably go.
I would say 2.5.
3 times 2.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable in the 2 million range, the low 2.
Yeah, 3.2 or 2.5 by 3 for sure.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought he was going to re-sign for 1.5, take a discount to stay in Calgary.
I did too, actually.
I did too.
Was I wrong?
Well, he seemed so happy in Calgary, and it was the first time he fit on a team in a long time, and he even said it several times. Yeah. But I mean, I don't blame him at all. Somebody's throwing $4 million at me when I'm probably worth 2. I'm going for it.
Yeah, when you're in that stage of your career and somebody just throws $16 million at you, I mean, you're probably going to take it, right?
Yeah, and then Chris Pronger is going to make a post on social media saying how he hasn't made it yet because he actually has all these fees to pay and stuff, and we're all going to laugh at him.
Oh fuck, wasn't that bad?
Yeah, it was so bad.
I read it, and then I kind of cocked my head a little, and then I read it again. I was trying to feel sorry for him. God, it was hard. It was super hard. I still don't feel sorry for him. Oh man, because I mean, he had car payments. He had to buy a car with his 25 million. A car, if you can imagine. Whew. And buy a house. Son of a bitch.
Right?
I tell you what.
And I think the final thing he said is even those players that are making $3 million after all their expenses and everything, their take home is only $650,000. Excuse me? What?
God damn it! That's horrendous. I can't. You can't even live with that.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think of Chris Pronger as a legitimate number 1 defenseman for so many years. How is this guy not having bonuses as far as advertising fees and stuff like that? He's got to be making a bunch of extra money at that time too, and that stuff, a lot.
I don't think he was talking about himself. I think he was talking about other people that he played with. He made well more than $3 million most of his career.
Yeah. I fear that maybe the concussions have finally gotten up to him.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Anyways, so I'm excited about the season. Dylan, how about you?
Oh, I'm fucking pumped.
Fucking pumped. How about Ty? Is Ty excited? I mean, he bought some new LED lights for it.
Yeah, my shit's packed and I'm ready for the season.
Third time in one episode. Well done, sir.
Hashtag it, people. Hashtag it. Let's go viral. Hashtag shit's packed.
Speaking of viral. Anyways. So there it is.
That was some good shit right there.
Good shit. I'm
That was good shit. So should we pack it up then, boys?
Okay.
Grown. Yeah, we should. Here it is, another episode. Getting excited. We're getting within days of the camp. Whew. Let's go, Flames. Cheers.
This episode's been too much for Chris.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. It's been a roller coaster ride, just like the off season.